Chapter 834, The Lunar Clow Guardians Test. In the estate, we were watching TV and reading books and playing card games and board games. Sheen and Carol are having a spicy food eating contest. Sheen, you are gonna lose, Carol. Carol, I don't think so, Sheen. They were having a spicy ghost chili pizza with wasabi sauce on it. Me, that pizza is a nuclear hot disk of agony. Nathan, no kidding, and I love nuclear hot food. Nico, me too, Nathan. Lynn, same here. But I love spicy subs. Me, we got a bunch of chili heads with us. Lainey, I love nuclear hot spicy food myself. Me, I remember that, Lainey. You beat Lynn in one of the most excruciatingly hot spicy food contests ever. Lainey, yet, and I had a major league stomachache for days. Yet. Nico, I wasn't here for that, but I heard about that. Bella, I love nuclear hot spicy food. I ate the hottest pepper on the planet at school on a dare and I won. Me, wow. You are tough, Bella. Bella, thanks. Nathan, awesome. Carla, go get her, mommy. Evelyn, yet. Pearl, take her down, mommy. Me, but that pizza is going to rip them apart. It's gonna make them blow fire out their mouths and noses. Wasabi has a chemical in it that aggravates the sinuses. Sakura Avalon, I may be from Japan, but I love wasabi. Me, it's good stuff. They dug into the pizza and ate the whole thing, and they were blowing fire out their noses and absorbing it into their bodies, and they were blowing fire out their mouths too. Lainey, looks like it's a tie. Me, these two girls are crazy. Hunter, German accent, J.A. They sure are. Sheen, burps out fire, whoops. Excuse me. Carol, belches out fire, pardon me. Sheen, that was a great pizza. Carol, it sure was, and I made it myself. Sheen, you're a great pizza chef, Carol. Lynn Sr., she learned everything from the pros. Carol, yep. Sheen, Carol, can I ask you something? Carol, sure. Sheen, what were you like before you joined the team and married Vince? Carol looked down. Sheen, oh man. Was that a bad thing to talk about? Carol, no, it's fine. You have the right to know. My time before joining the team has not been very pleasant. Carla, why, mommy? Carol went over what happened during the events of the Windy Cat fight, the problem with trolls, and Carol's redemption. She told her about how Carol beat up Lori while under the influence of her evil persona Morgan. She was suspended from school and banned from all social media sites. We caught her and arrested her, and she was sent to reform school. When she got back from reform school, her father disowned her, and now she hates his guts. Mary Pingree and Carol's brother Connor despised their dad to the core. And she got her powers when Lisa separated Morgan from her, and it was a horrible time for her. Sheen, Maria, Carla, Evelyn, and Pearl gasped in horror. Maria gasps in horror. Morgan was that dangerous and pure evil? Sheen, Carol, that's awful. I didn't know about that. Carol, Morgan was the worst thing that has ever happened to me. She was a monster straight from the fire of hell. She made my life a living nightmare and severed my ties with my home and my family. Me, I remember that. Vince, yet. Carol went through a nightmare because of her. Nico, Morgan is a monster that has failed this universe. Me, she sure has. Sheen, that's awful. Also, I heard you guys met the world-famous creator of Marvel Comics, Stan Lee. Me, we sure have. Sheen. He is the most awesome comic book creator ever. Sheen, wow. Where did you meet him first? Spider-Man, I can answer that. We met him at the school we went to in the middle of the city. Me, it was under attack by the Carnage symbiote and that fucked up homicidal maniac Cletus Cassidy. Sheen gasped. Sheen, I remember him. He was the worst monster ever. Me, you would hate this guy to the core. He was over 50,000% fucked up and should have been killed long before he got the Carnage symbiote. Cletus Kasady was a monster that wanted nothing more than to see the entire planet and everyone on it burn and die. He's what I call a nihilistic sadomasochist. Totally beyond pure evil. Sheen, that's horrible. Lisa, even though 50,000% is not a real percentage, that is an accurate and definitive way to describe him. I pulled up Cletus Kasady aka Carnage's history. *****. Even when he was a toddler, Cletus Kasady was already a deeply disturbed person with a dark past. Born at the Ravencroft Institute for the Criminally Insane, he died a few minutes afterward, before he was revived by the primordial entity Null to be the one free him from the Culnature. As a child, he killed his grandmother by pushing her down a flight of stairs, tried to murder his mother by throwing a hairdryer into the bathtub, and tortured and killed the family dog Fifi with a drill. When his father caught his wife trying to kill Kasady in a mix of self-defense and rage for what their son had done to her beloved pet, he beat her to the brink of death and received no defense from Kasady during his trial. Kasady was then sent to the St. Estes home for boys, where his antisocial behavior made him the target of abuse from both the other orphans and the staff. Brutal years he endured at St. Estes only further shaping the killer inside the young man, subsequently giving him his philosophy where life was essentially meaningless and futile, that laws are only words, and that the spreading of chaos through random, unpatterned bloodshed was the ultimate freedom. Kasady eventually gained his revenge by murdering the disciplinarian administrator, pushing a girl who laughed at him for asking her to date him in front of a moving bus, and eventually burning down the orphanage. Eventually, Kasady was captured and convicted of 11 murders. He bragged about a dozen additional killings while in custody, which the police presumably could not find sufficient evidence for. Now imprisoned for 11 consecutive life sentences, Cletus Kasady shared a cell Eddie Brock, who has lost his Venom symbiote thanks to the toxic touch of the supervillain Styx. Learning of Brock's grudge against Spider-Man, Kasady tried to convert him to his nihilistic philosophy, mocking Eddie over his claims to have once been the supervillain Venom. Repeatedly rebuked, Kasady decided to murder his cellmate, but before he could, the Venom symbiote entered the cell and rebonded to Eddie. Venom broke free, leaving the terrified and jealous Kasady behind. Sensing his desire for the power Eddie possessed, a scrap of the symbiote left behind, none other than Venom symbiote's offspring, dripped onto Cletus' hand and bonded with him, transforming him into the monstrous Carnage. A security guard who witnessed his transformation was subsequently killed, with his body somehow pulled through the bars of his cell before escape, and commit around a dozen of murders in far more extreme methods. As Carnage, Kasady proved stronger than Spider-Man and Venom combined, and his symbiote was not only less susceptible to sonics than its progenitor, but infinitely more difficult to remove, having bonded to his bloodstream. In his first appearance, Carnage forced Spider-Man and Venom to call a temporary truce to defeat him. Following his defeat, Carnage was sent to the Vault, a prison for supervillains, and later to the Ravencroft Institute, a facility for criminally insane superhumans. Hoping to find a cure for Kasady's madness, a doctor drew blood from him, unknowingly allowing him to transform back into Carnage. After bursting out of his restraints, Carnage freed fellow inmate Shriek from her confinement and escapes from Ravencroft with her. Carnage and Shriek then go on a killing spree and recruit Doppelganger, Demogoblin, and Carrion into an army of psychopathic supervillains bent on taking over New York. Despite declaring himself the father of the group, the other members in fact hated Carnage and only stayed in devotion to Shriek. As the death toll increases, Spider-Man, Venom, Captain America, Black Cat, Nightwatch, Cloak and Dagger, Iron Fist, Deathlock, Morbius, and Firestar all join forces to defeat Carnage and his gang, although they are polarized by Venom's desire to stop Carnage at all costs and Spider-Man's refusal to use violent methods, leading to Spider-Man abandoning Venom to Carnage's mercy. To make matters worse, Carnage uses Shriek's psychic channel powers to turn the populace of New York bloodthirsty and violent, allowing them to continue their killing spree without hindrance. Eventually, Carnage turns on his family, causing Shriek to become distracted from using her psychic power in the ensuing battle. Taking advantage of this, the heroes use a device acquired from Stark Industries to project feelings of love and hope into the villains, overwhelming them. While the others are captured, Carnage fakes his death by covering one of his victims in a mock symbiote costume and flees. Once the heroes have dispersed, Carnage ambushes Venom, although, due to being left frantic and disoriented from the previous fight, he is relentlessly beaten and then tackled into an electrical generator. After being knocked senseless, he is arrested soon afterwards. Despite supposedly being irremovable, the Carnage symbiote left Cletus twice of its own volition, once to bond to Spider-Man's clone Ben Reilly, and the second time to bond to the Silver Surfer, but both times returned to its original host. Fed up with Carnage, Venom once devoured the symbiote, leaving Cletus powerless for a time, though the serial killer somehow managed to obtain an exact duplicate of it in the negative zone that has since merged with the remnants of the original. When Cletus realized the Carnage symbiote was about to give birth, he passed the offspring on to a police officer named Patrick Mulligan, exhausted from trying to suppress the process and intending to kill them both later. This backfired when the offspring toxin teamed up with Spider-Man and Black Cat to defeat him and Venom. While imprisoned on the raft, Carnage participated in a breakout but was apprehended by the Sentry, flown into orbit, and torn in half. Presumed dead, Cletus was actually cocooned by the symbiote, but missed out on the Civil War, Skrull invasion, and Dark Reign. His body was eventually recovered by Hall Industries, which extracted the symbiote from him and used it to engineer unique prosthetics. Equipped with a new pair of legs, Cletus was eventually reunited with the symbiote and stronger than ever, but was repelled by Spider-Man and Iron Man with help from the symbiote's new offspring, Scorn. Traveling to Doverton, Colorado, Cassidy took over the town by creating copies of the symbiote, even parasitizing the Avengers, but was defeated by the Life Foundation symbiotes, Scorn, and Agent Venom. Imprisoned, he was freed by servants of Marquis Radu, a tyrant in the Microverse who intended to use the Carnage symbiote to create an unstoppable army. Pursued by Agent Venom and the Scarlet Spider, Carnage betrayed Radu's forces but was captured and his symbiote cloned and fused to copies of the Venom symbiote. Intrigued by this, Carnage attempted to assimilate the Venom symbiote to become even more powerful, but was stabbed through the head by the Scarlet Spider's stingers and lobotomized. Comatose and under the control of the symbiote, Cletus was eventually broken free by Claw and the increasingly psychotic Wizard, who wanted to turn him into his own version of Agent Venom. Unable to do so due to Cletus being brain dead, the Wizard has Claw subdue the symbiote and transfers it into his old friend Carl Malice, blowing up his base with Cassidy still in it. The Wizard's control over Malice proved tenuous at best, and during a fight with the superior Spider-Man he lost control, allowing the symbiote to take over and go on a rampage, destroying Claw's corporeal form in the process. The resulting shockwave blasted the symbiote off Malice and onto the Wizard, who the symbiote promptly took control of and resumed its rampage. Superior Spider-Man learns Cassidy survived the explosion, albeit badly injured, and has his body recovered to exploit the symbiote's preference for him. The symbiote eluded Spider-Man's attempts to capture it and rebonded to Cassidy, curing him of his coma, but the reunion was short-lived before Claw directed a bolt of lightning towards Carnage, separating Cassidy and the symbiote once more. Spider-Man takes the symbiote into custody while Cassidy is incarcerated again and revealed to have made a full recovery from his lobotomy. Cletus undergoes psychotherapy and is integrated into the mainstream prison population, while without a host, the symbiote begins to die and escapes containment, seeking to reunite with him. Upon learning of the symbiote's escape, Cassidy's psychologist, Dr. Jenner, hires a thug to shank him and then smothers him to death, offering himself to the symbiote as its next host. The symbiote refuses and resuscitates Cassidy, rebonding to him, and the reunited Carnage returns the favor by smothering Jenner. Carnage decides that his ambitions of conquest and transcendence have caused him nothing but grief and decides to get back to basics with another randomized killing spree. This attracts the attention of psychotic anti-hero Deadpool, who inadvertently comes to believe that it is his destiny to hunt Carnage down. Tracking him down, Much to his confusion and outrage, Deadpool gains an upper hand over Carnage until Shriek arrives. Carnage and Shriek escape, but Deadpool tracks them down and tricks Carnage into badly injuring Shriek. Broken from almost killing Shriek, Carnage allowed himself to be arrested and placed in an unlocked cell, swearing revenge on Deadpool. Carnage would later be one of the villains recruited by Magneto to confront Red Onslaught, the former having convinced him to help out by promising that he'll cause more chaos by becoming a savior. As a result of the morality-altering magic used by Doctor Doom and Scarlet Witch during the fight, Carnage was filled with the urge to become a hero and returns to New York to save people, mostly oblivious to how his actions are causing more harm than good. At the same time, a new Sin Eater begins murdering journalists, which leads to Carnage saving attention-seeking reporter Alice Gleason from him, and abducting her so that she may teach him how to become a great hero. Carnage later defeats and kills the Sin Eater with the overwhelming force of his old sins, and Alice turns on him by convincing the police that he'd been attacking her. Carnage concludes that Alice is trying to teach him that to be a true hero he must be alone and escapes. Carnage would then team up with Spider-Man, Steve Rogers, Magneto and the other morally inverted villains to form the Astonishing Avengers to stop the threat of the Avengers, X-Men, and Apocalypse. To stop the X-Men from destroying all humans within radius with their gene bomb, Carnage sacrifices himself to contain the blast. Spider-Man describing this act as the worst man he ever knew doing the most noble thing he'd ever seen. Following the inversion of all the heroes and villains, the Astonishing Avengers would take the fall for the Avengers and X-Men's actions, this being confirmed through a video released to the public, in which Carnage served as the group's spokesperson. Carnage somehow managed to cheat death again and decided to track down and kill a friend he had made while his morality was reversed, Sam Alexander, the teenage superhero Nova, as he wanted to erase all history of his good deeds, including anyone who remembered him being a hero. After first proving that he had reverted to his old ways by murdering a random bystander, Carnage took Nova's mother hostage at the local diner she works at in order to lure him out, and escapes after being wounded by the Nova Force. He then attacks Sam at his school, only to find that Nova is flying around in the area, in reality, Sam's mother wearing his helmet, thus making him drop the idea that Sam is Nova and chase after his mother. He soon loses track of the false Nova and starts attacking people to lure him out, which he succeeds in doing. Nova manages to stun Carnage by setting off various car alarms, and, realizing the symbiote's weakness to high frequencies, he throws him into an Anthrax concert nearby, sending Carnage fleeing for the road. The fight soon ends as Carnage is ran over by a truck and Nova restrains him, dropping him off at Rikers Island. Later, following Hydra's takeover of America, Norman Osborn steals the Carnage symbiote from an abandoned SHIELD storehouse and decides to use it for himself. While initially overpowered by the symbiote's desire for violence and destruction, Norman manages to convince it to be used for something more than boring mindless slaughter. Norman then uses the symbiote to begin a crusade as the terrifying Red Goblin, combining his tech and powers with the symbiote's own abilities, thus granting the both of them all of their strengths with none of their weaknesses. He uses his new form to easily beat Spider-Man and his allies, assimilate his grandson Normie into a miniature Red Goblin, and target Spider-Man's friends and loved ones when the latter abandons his promise to give up heroics, even killing Flash Thompson/Agent Anti-Venom. After donning the Venom symbiote once again to fight his archenemy, Spider-Man convinces Norman to abandon the Carnage symbiote to prove he doesn't need it to finish him, and subsequently blows the symbiote up with an exploding gas tank. The resulting feedback seemingly destroys the remains Norman's mind, leaving him with the belief that Spider-Man is really Norman Osborn and he is Cletus Cassidy, although it is implied that he could be faking his mental state. In the aftermath, it is also shown that a sliver of the Carnage symbiote is still attached to Normie. In the Venomverse sequel crossover, Cletus becomes Poison Carnage. In the latest Venom series, Cletus Cassidy, after becoming Poison Carnage, returns from Earth and revived by the Cult of Null, getting not only the Carnage symbiote but also the Grendel symbiote. ******. We were absolutely horrified. Nico, holy shit. Sheen, no kidding. I can't believe that Cletus Cassidy was that evil. Me? No kidding. And now Naruto has the Carnage symbiote. Naruto? Yep. It's true. Carnage. I bonded with Naruto during an alternate Mizuki incident. He and I have been close ever since. Vince, I remember that. That was awesome. Lainey, it sure was. Me? Yet. But there's another person we despise, and Spider-Man was working for him ages ago. Spider-Man? Yep. That was my old boss J. Jonah Jameson. Sheen, the disgraced chief newspaper editor of the Daily Bugle? Spider-Man? That's right. Sheen, I heard that he hates heroes with a terrible vengeance. Me? Yet. He hates all heroes and praises supervillains. He wants nothing more than to see all heroes die. He slanders all heroes and drags their names through the mud. I revealed his history. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. His full name is John Jonah Jameson Jr. Jameson was born in Los Angeles, California to John Jonah Jameson Sr. and Betty Jameson. However, his father left for unknown reasons when Jameson was still a child, leaving Jameson to be raised by his mother and eventual stepfather, retired United States Army veteran David Jameson. However, he was abused by his stepfather, leading him to believe that heroes were not always good people. He grew up a Boy Scout and took up hobbies in boxing and photography, and later courted his crush Joan in high school. When he was attacked by 3 bullies, he used his boxing skills to easily beat them, impressing Joan and kicking off their dating. The two married right out of high school. Jameson began his journalism career by starting as a paperboy, and later as a reporter for New York City's newspaper The Daily Bugle, later serving as a war correspondent. Through personal assets and inheritance from his recently, presumed, deceased parents, Jameson eventually acquired enough funds to open his own company, Jameson Publications, which then bought the struggling Daily Bugle with the intention of revitalizing it from a cheap tabloid to a popular newspaper. Jameson bought a building to turn into the Daily Bugle's office. He and Joan later would have their son John Jonah Jameson III, but shortly after Joan passed away from unknown circumstances. Despite his intense hatred for superhumans, Jameson held a respect for normal human minority groups and was a strong opponent of organized crime, even leading to assassination attempts by the Kingpin. As the number of superhuman individuals began to grow, Jameson became more infuriated by their theatrics and disregard for the law. He began targeting them and even falsifying information regarding their actions in his newspaper to defame and villainize them in the public eye. Though he spoke out against superheroes like the Fantastic Four, Hulk, She-Hulk, and X-Men, he primarily targeted local and less professional superhero Spider-Man, who was, at that time, little more than an entertainer. However, as he began to rise as a superhero vigilante, Jameson soon began defaming Spider-Man, causing so much public hatred for Spider-Man that he was effectively blacklisted from appearing in entertainment. Soon after, Spider-Man saved Jameson's son, who had become an astronaut, from a disastrous space capsule accident. Despite this, Jameson accused Spider-Man of sabotaging the capsule as a publicity stunt, and incriminated him with the destruction of government property and the endangering of his son's life. Spider-Man became an outcast and an outlaw. Shortly after, Jameson hired a freelance photographer named Peter Parker, who took pictures of Spider-Man's battle against the Vulture. Jameson continued to villainize Spider-Man and discredit his public image through lies and libel, though Spider-Man continued his vigilantism. Eventually, Jameson was overcome with rage and decided to take matters into his own hands. He commissioned Dr. Farley Stillwell to biologically mutate and enhance criminal MacDonald Gargan into the vicious supervillain Scorpion to kill Spider-Man, though this failed when Gargan turned against him. He would later get Spencer Smythe to create the Spider Slayers, controlled by him, to battle Spider-Man, though this too failed. He would later hire Daniel Burkhart, the second Mysterio, to defeat Spider-Man, but again failed. Jameson fled to France, and returned to try and continue the Spider Slayer program with Dr. Marla Madison. Though this failed as well, Jameson and Madison fell in love with each other during their time together, and were eventually married. Later, the Hobgoblin attempted to blackmail Jameson for his involvement in the creation of the Scorpion. Though this failed, Jameson publicly announced his guilt and stepped down as the Daily Bugle's editor-in-chief, though he remained a publisher. Though he made other attempts to bring down Spider-Man by hiring the Wild Pack, he mainly laid low. He was later kidnapped and impersonated by the Chameleon, who once again used his newspaper to spread anti-Spider-Man propaganda. He was saved by Spider-Man, and the Daily Bugle was temporarily run by Thomas Firehart, aka Puma, who was an ally of Spider-Man. Shortly after Jameson regained control of the company, he was blackmailed into selling it to Norman Osborn under the threat of homicide attempts on his wife. He was soon after attacked by supervillain Mad Jack, causing him to go through a downfall until Osborn was driven mad by a ritual he had performed and the company was sold back to Jameson. Soon after, Jameson and his wife adopted their niece Maddie Franklin, who was also the Spider-Woman. Jameson learned of her identity after a failed heroic outing where she had to be saved by Jessica Jones. Jameson, in return, hired Jones as an investigator and promoted her agency. Jameson was later attacked by Mysterio, who made it appear that Spider-Man killed him in a deliberate car crash. Jameson was kidnapped by Mysterio, who used illusions to make Jameson believe he was dead and in hell, tormented by a Spider-Man demon. Jameson was eventually saved by Spider-Man, but lasted deeper hatred for the wall crawler because of the traumatic event. Jameson eventually reached his breaking point during the Civil War, where his son married She-Hulk and he had to contend with a superhuman he hated being his daughter-in-law. Additionally, as a part of the Superhuman Registration Act, Peter Parker announced himself to the world as Spider-Man, angering Jonah and making him feel betrayed. He attempted to sue Peter for fraud, but Parker was protected by the act. Finally snapping from rage, Jameson brought back a Spider Slayer robot and attacked She-Hulk, who defeated him. Jameson committed several acts of libel against Peter and even demanded his arrest. When the Daily Bugle's then editor-in-chief and longtime friend of Jonah Robbie Robertson objected, Jameson fired him. Spider-Man asked Jameson to rehire Robertson, and Jameson only agreed if he could continue his lawsuit. Spider-Man agreed, then told Jameson to beat him. Jameson was reluctant at first, but proceeded to punch Spider-Man numerous times. Spider-Man then gave Jameson a roll of film containing pictures he had taken of the fight, telling him to use them as he pleased. However, in a rush of remorse, Jameson destroyed the film, rehired Robbie, and dropped the lawsuit. Later, when Peter Parker sold his marriage to Mary Jane Watson Parker to Mephisto in order to wipe everyone's memories of his secret identity, Jameson lost all memory of who Spider-Man was. However, the Bugle was under threat of being purchased by Dexter Bennett, causing Jameson to become angry. During an argument with Peter over money, Jameson suddenly collapsed from a heart attack. He was saved, but suffered a second heart attack when he heard his wife had sold the Bugle to Dexter Bennett while he was ill. He recovered, but had lost his nerve and even some of his famous temper. His wife, Marla, tried to regain the Bugle but it was attacked by Alistair Smythe, and she was killed in the process. With no company or family to return to, Jameson used his falsified heroic public image to run for mayor and won. Even though Spider-Man and even Jameson's biological father urged him to end his vendetta and bury the hatchet, Jameson instead used his power to assemble an anti-Spider squad to hunt down Spider-Man. Spider-Man did his best to remain a hero while being hunted, infuriating Jonah. Even though the anti-Spider squad cost the local government a lot and was borderline illegal, Jameson continued it. The organization gained some favor during the infamous Spider Island incident. However, after a series of events where Peter Parker and Dr. Octopus switched bodies, Octavius became the superior Spider-Man and saved Horizon Labs. Jameson, ironically, softened his heart to the new, darker Spider-Man. He was unaware it was not the same Spider-Man, and tried to help him. The superior Spider-Man tried to force Jameson to give him control of the Raft prison, causing Jameson to hate him again. He commissioned new Spider Slayers, even though the city was being terrorized by the Green Goblin and his organization, the Goblin Nation. This created a scandal that worsened when the nation took control of the robots, causing Jameson to resign in disgrace. Spider-Man eventually returned and defeated Octopus. With no company left to go to and a poor public image, Jameson was hired as a reporter for the Fact Channel. He reported on a story that was interrupted by Black Cat and Electro, and ordered the cameraman to film the ensuing battle when Spider-Man and Silk arrived. Electro managed to electrocute and stun Spider-Man, and Black Cat attempted to remove his mask. Jameson demanded the cameraman zoom in to catch it, but Spider-Man stopped Black Cat before she could do it. Jameson later used his reporting job to support the company NIVIRO Technologies, who claimed they could revive the dead with a new chemical formula, and did so with Jameson's deceased wife Marla. However, NIVIRO turned out to be a fraud, cloning patients instead of reviving/curing them. To make matters worse, all carried a disease called the carrion virus, which was exploited by Dr. Octopus, causing a worldwide epidemic. Spider-Man was able to stop the disease, but Jameson was fired from his job due to his support of NIVIRO. Jameson was later contacted by S.H.I.E.L.D, who asked him to help Spider-Man catch a fugitive named Teresa Durand. Jameson agreed as long as he could finally interview Spider-Man. Tensions rose as the interview progressed, but ended with Jonah finally breaking down and admitting the reason he hated Spider-Man more than anyone was because he was envious of what he had. In order to finally bury the hatchet, Spider-Man revealed his identity to Jonah. Jean was horrified and sad for him. Jean, I can't believe that he went through all that. No wonder he hates all heroes. Me, yet. But look where he's at now. I pulled up the security camera footage of J. Jonah Jameson in his prison cell in the Venus Maximum Security Prison. Jean, he's in prison? Me, yep. Lola, that Claude deserved it. He was ruining the reputations of all heroes everyone. Spider-Man, it was mostly mine that he loved ruining the most. Jean, why is that? Me, when we visited him in prison Spider-Man revealed who he was. I pulled up the security footage from when we visited him during the events of the Devil's Bounty Hunter. Me, hello Jameson. Jameson, JD. Knudsen. Who is he and why is Spider-Man with you? Nico, in order, my name is Nicholas Chan. But everyone calls me Nico and Spider-Man is with us because he wants to show you something. Me, how are you liking your home here on the planet Venus? Jameson, the chili is good but I would really like to get a Daily Bugle newspaper subscription. Me, well we're 24 million miles away from Earth. So that's gonna be a problem. Nico, J. Jonah Jameson, you have failed New York City. Spider-Man, you know it was Green Arrow that invented that line right Nico? Nico, I know. But I use it all the time when we fight bad guys. And sometimes for humorous purposes. Me, I saw that. Spider-Man, I want to show you who was working with you the whole time. Spider-Man took off his mask and J. Jonah Jameson was shocked to see that Spider-Man was really Peter Parker. Jameson, Parker. You're Spider-Man. Spider-Man, ironic, isn't it? The one person that you thought of as a menace was working for you as a photographer the entire time. I'm glad Robbie is in charge of the Daily Bugle now. Nico, I would consider what you've been doing as an act of slavery. You hired Peter Parker and it was fate that made him into Spider-Man. Jameson, how did Parker become Spider-Man? Me, you remember that Neogenics lab you sent him to get a story it? Jameson, what about it? Me, he was bitten by a radioactive spider and it mutated him and gave him his powers. Super strength, the ability to climb on walls, sense his surroundings, web slinging. All kinds of spider powers. He was hit by a double whammy of how superheroes get superpowers, laboratory experimentation and a laboratory accident. Nico, that's right. Me, I was given my powers when I was a baby because of cosmic radiation. It gave me omnipotent power. Nico, I'm what is called a scion. I was born on another planet, but I was raised here on Earth. Me, now look at you. You're a disgraced journalist here in prison 24 million miles away from Earth, left here to rot. Then J. Jonah Jameson went berserk. He went into a temper tantrum of unimaginable rage and fury at an incomprehensible. Nico used Stinker's fart powers and stunk up his cell big time, giving him the worst ever Dutch oven of all time. Craft AR. We left as he ranted. Me, burn in hell you monster. The door to his cell closed. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Sheen, wow. That is majorly ironic. Spider-Man, yet. Who would have thought that the man that was a major thorn in his side was the cause of his own imprisonment? Me, yep. Nico, I wonder how the construction is doing. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Rumble and Frenzy were working on a house. Rumble and Frenzy are renovating a broken down house. Rumble, alright. Frenzy, I'm gonna go up to the upper level and run this wire down through the wall. Grab your walkie, I'll call you when I get up there. Frenzy, okay. Rumble leaves with the wire and a walkie-talkie. Rumble, Frenzy, pick up. Over. Frenzy, what? Rumble, Frenzy, please say over when you finish talking. Over. Frenzy, what? Over. Rumble, do you see the wire yet? Over. Frenzy, no. Rumble, no. What? Over. Frenzy, no. Over. Rumble, okay, I'm gonna start feeding it through. Over. Frenzy, wait, if you haven't started feeding it, why'd you ask me if I could see it? Rumble, didn't copy that. Over. Frenzy, I said, why'd you ask me if I could see it if you haven't started feeding it? Over. Rumble, oh, that's better, I can hear you now. Over. You see it yet? Over. Frenzy, is this payback for when I blindly followed Megatron and Starscream's orders? Because if it is, I'm gonna get back at you when this is over. Rumble, when this is what? Frenzy? Over. Frenzy, I said, I'm gonna get back at you when this is over. Rumble, when this is what? You gotta finish your sentence. Over. Frenzy, that's it. My sentence is over. Rumble, your sentence is what? Frenzy? Over. Frenzy, my sentence is... Wait a minute, I have to say over even if the sentence ends with the word over? Rumble, ends with the word what? Frenzy? Over. The wire finally comes down from the wall. Frenzy, oh, I see the wire. Rumble, you see the wire what? Frenzy? Over. Frenzy, grabs the wire and pulls hard over. Rumble falls to the ground. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Later Frenzy and Rumble came back. Sky Warp, hey, guys. How was the construction? Rumble, pretty good. Frenzy, annoyed, speak for yourself. Clawful came out with a big pot of soup. Clawful, I made you all shrimp gumbo. He served us all shrimp gumbo he learned using Merman's cooking. We ate it and we loved it. Clawful, what do you think of my cooking? I learned it from Merman before you guys killed him. Me, you cook really great, Clawful. Nico, I'll say. Delicious. Lincoln, it's really tasty. With us was SPD member and teacher Cot Manx. Cot Manx, I just wish I could be out there fighting crime with all of you. Power Glide, didn't you have a Cot Morpher before? Cot Manx, I did. But it was only for good for 60 minutes. And it was for one use only. Me, that stinks. I looked at the clock and it was 6:30 p.m. I had an hour and a half until my big test. Me, the full moon is almost up. My big test is today. Blue Beetle, I can't believe you still have to go through this test. Haven't you proven yourself worthy already? What more do you have to do? Me, the light and dark cards told me that this day would be coming. I have to take this test because if Sakura can do it, then so can I. I've been ready for this ever since this journey to bring back the Clow cards began when I opened the Clow book. And we all have been through so much together over the course of the last 3 years. We faced great challenges and obstacles and overcome many powerful foes. This test is gonna be an amazing challenge. Sakura Avalon, I know you can do it, JD. Kuro, we believe in you, JD. You told me to have you meet him on the tallest building in the city. Tori then came and he was walking without crutches. Tori, hey guys. Me, hey Tori. You've been upgraded to walking without crutches. Tori, yep. Should be better in about another week. Sakura Avalon, I'm glad Tori. Tori, at least you're not the one with the broken leg. Squirt. Sakura growled. Me, Tori, be nice to her. Tori, sorry. I heard you have that big test today. Me, yep. And I'm ready for it. Tori, you is also my best friend Julian. Me, I think you mentioned that at one time, Tori. You two have known each other for a while. Tori, yep. We've been best friends for a while. Me, were you surprised when you found out that Julian was also you as well? Tori, I was. But I was able to figure it out with my spirit awareness powers. Me, wow. You caught on very fast. And I bet you knew something was off about Kuro. Tori, yep. He thought he was a stuffed animal, but I knew something was different about him. Me, boy, nothing escaped your spiritual awareness. Tori, I know. Kuro, JD, it's time. Me, I'm ready, Kuro. Sakura Avalon, you can do it, JD. Me, let's go guys. We were off to the city. We saw the full moon in the sky and we flew to the tallest building in the city. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. We arrived at the tallest building in the city and we saw you. You is an attractive young man with long, silver hair that flows down his back in a loose ponytail. His bangs are short, and reveal his silver blue eyes. He wears white silken robes set with dark blue armor, a jeweled earring on his left ear, a long side cape that hangs on his right shoulder and large angelic wings that he can use to fly. Me, whoa. Nico, is he you? Lori, he literally looks like a true angel. Lainey, he sure does. We landed and we stood face to face. Me, are you you? You, that is right. Sakura, Kuro, it's great to see you all again. Kuro turned into Kuro Barrows. Kuro Barrows, you too you. It has been a long time. Me, it's a pleasure to meet you. So you are here to judge me for the big test to see if I'm worthy of the Clow cards? You, that is correct. Eddie, to you, I was thinking that instead of a fight, we show you a clip show of J.D's various good deeds to prove that he's worthy. You, I will admit that I have seen and read about the many good deeds JD and all his friends did over the last 3 years and I'm very impressed. But sadly the test must go on. Horsa, please don't fight JD. You, sadly smiles, I'm sorry, child. But this is required. Horsa, does puppy dog eyes, please? Maria, smiles pleadingly, do you really want to say no to Horsa's puppy dog eyes? Me, you is right. Ever since this whole journey to bring back the Clow cards began, I've been preparing for this. Clow Reed was the most powerful sorcerer that ever lived and Sakura and Lee know all about the Clow cards better than I do. But as time went on when I found them, I learned fast. And I've been preparing for this ever since the light and dark cards told me about you coming. I have to do this, guys. It's part of what I must do. Nico, if this is what you must do, then we won't stop you, JD. You, if it helps, your friends can assist you in this battle. Me, if that is all right then. Okay. Ready guys? Nico, let's do it. Weird Wolf, to you, just remember. We gave you an option to skip this fight. Me, we have to take the fight to another planet to avoid having people get hurt. You, good idea. I snapped my fingers and we were in the clouds of a massive gas giant planet. I used my magic to allow us to stand on the clouds. Maria, whoa. Lainey, wow. Look at this planet. It's amazing. Nico, where are we? Me, this is the gas giant planet Ukraina. The planet Ukraina is a gas giant planet that lives in the radio galaxy M87, 60 million light-years away from Earth. It is 175 million kilometers or 108,739,958 miles in diameter, and it is one of the largest planets in the universe to date. The storms on the planet produce tremendously supercharged lightning and produces 18,000 bolts every half a second. The static discharging hydrogen gas of the planet creates an electromagnetic field that disrupts transformation jutsu, and it produces a special radiation that enhances magic powers. Sakura, Avalon and Lee gasped when they felt the planet's magic enhancing power. Sakura, Avalon, the planet's atmosphere is doing something to us. Lee, I feel incredibly powerful. Kuroberos, same here. Something is in the planet's atmosphere that is doing this. Me, that's right. It's a powerful radiation that enhances magic powers. Brittany, this is incredible. Lana, I feel amazing. Zaydna, same here. Doctor Strange, amazing. Me, okay you. We're ready. Let's power up. We transformed and powered up. We went at you and I fired a powerful energy blast and it hit him and exploded. Crab bohoiam. You came at us and I punched him in the face and kicked him in the stomach, and he punched at me and I dodged it, and Sakura punched him in the face and kicked him in the back, and Lee slashed him with his sword. You fired numerous crystal shards at us and I grabbed them and threw them back at him. Earth, wow. That was so cool. Lincoln, it sure was. Lincoln fired a powerful blast of lightning and Earth fired a massive glob of lava, and they combined and hit him and exploded. Crab bohoiam. Lainey fired plant grenades and Sakura fired a blast of fire and they hit him and exploded. Crab bohoiam. Lana fired a massive blast of ice lightning and froze his wings. You, shall we sword fight? Me, let's. I had my Force Lightning enhanced lightsaber ready. You made a powerful energy sword of pure lunar light and we clashed, and it was a powerful and massive clash. We clashed ferociously and massive and powerful sparks were flying everywhere and more. We were clashing all over and more, and the powerful shockwaves from our fight were being felt all over the universe. Our clashes were dead even. Me, I would say our swordsmanship is even. You, it is. You are a magnificent sword master. You've learned very well. Me, all of us have. Not to brag. You, let's see how you fare against all of these guys. You then summoned a bunch of drones from Star Wars and they fired blasters at us, and we all ignited our lightsabers and slashed them and deflected the blasts from the drones back at them and away from us, and we slashed and blasted all of the drones and more. You, very impressive. Me, thanks. You, let's see how good you are at dodging arrows. You formed a bow and energy arrows and readied them. Me, echoing, celestial arrow. I used Ange Woman's celestial arrow and fired a white energy arrow, and you fired a blue energy arrow, and the arrows collided and exploded. Crab Nico, wow. He used Ange Woman's power. I summoned the sword card and we clashed again, and I slashed you and he had a cut on his chest. Lola fired a massive blast of fire and Lisa fired a blast of atomic energy, and they hit him and exploded. Crab Lori fired a massive blast of wind and spun him around in a tornado, and Sakura used the power of Windy and blew him around and in a more powerful tornado. Lenny strengthened the gravity around you and he fell to the ground, and Luna fired a powerful blast of water and Sam fired a massive blast of fire and they hit and exploded. Crab. Lewin and Eddie fired a massive blast of light and they hit and exploded. Crab. Lucy and Linka fired lightning and it hit him and exploded. Crab. Liberty, Lee, and Lyra fired powerful blasts of fire, leaves and water at you and they hit and exploded. Crab. Me. K888888. Me. H888888. Me. I fired a powerful Kamehameha wave at you and it hit him and exploded. Crab. You was a very formidable adversary. Me. Time for some teamwork, guys. Sky Warp. We're with you, boss. Cyber Key Power. The Decepticon Cyber Planet Key went into his back and it enhanced his power and speed 100-fold. Clawful. Time for some pain. Animatron Cyber Key Power. The Animatron Cyber Planet Key went into his right arm device and it enhanced his power and strength 100-fold and it enabled his claws to get sharp and spiking. Skywarp and Clawful. Hypersonic Lobster Claw Snip. Skywarp went at 50,000 miles per hour and Clawful was on top of Skywarp and he snipped at you and he was getting cut all over. Power Glide. Time for action. Cyber Key Power. The Earth Cyber Planet Key went into his back and it enhanced his abilities and speed 100-fold. Blue Beetle. Let's do it. Earth Cyber Key Power. The Earth Cyber Planet Key went into his right arm and enhanced his powers 100-fold. Power Glide and Blue Beetle. Hypersonic Ultraviolet Burst Bomb. Power Glide and Blue Beetle fired powerful blue energy blasts and they hit you and exploded. Crab. Me. Let's see you handle the powers of our final smashes. Lee. I'll start us off. Elemental Talisman Burst. Lee fired a powerful blast of fire, water, earth, and wind from 4 talismans and they combined and hit you and exploded. Crab. Weird Wolf. Let's do it. Thermal Sword Blade Dance. Weird Wolf slashed you all over the place with his thermal sword with a powerful 900-degree temperature. Sakura Avalon. I beat you once, you, and here's my final smash. Fiery Wing Blade Slash. Sakura Avalon sprouted the wings of the fiery cart and fired powerful blades made of pure fire at you and they slashed and exploded. Crab. Bohohohohum. Be bohohohum. Bohohohohum. Bohohohum. Me. Now it's my turn. Let's see how you like this. Clow Card Spirit Strike. The spirits of all 52 Clow cards emerged and they went at you and they hit him with a multiple powers and more. They knocked him down and defeated him. The area reverted back and you was getting up. Me. Are you alright, you? You? Yet. I'll be alright. Sakura. Sorry if we were too hard on you. You. It's alright, Sakura. Now JD, close your eyes. I did so. You. The final judgment is over. You. Recognize JD as the new master. I was taken to another plane and it was there that I met the great wizard Clow Reed himself. Me. Clow Reed. Clow Reed. So we finally meet. I've been watching you closely, JD. The cards need a strong master. But they also need someone with a brave heart. That is where your strength lies, JD. Kuro Barrows and you have chosen well. Me. It's truly an honor to meet you, Clow Reed. I learned so much about you and a lot from Sakura, Lee, and Kuro. Clow Reed. I can see. You have come a long way. You also have a new staff with you. Then a powerful staff appeared and it was a red staff with a head in the shape of a phoenix in the middle of the sun. Me. Wow. Clow Reed. Your strength is not only from the sun but also the power of the phoenix. You are an inextinguishable flame that causes the phoenix to burn forever. It's a small flame now, but in time it will grow to become a great force for good. I understand, Master Clow Reed. Thank you. I got back to the real world and it was over. The test was done and I passed with flying colors. We all passed. Sakura Avalon. To the viewers, JD is now the new master of the Clow cards. But now he has a long road ahead of him to change the cards into his own cards. You'll see what we mean in the future. During the fight, Nico caught a Crabominable and Vaka Volt. We had an awesome adventure with the Clow cards. But it was not over yet. The end. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Another fanfiction complete and a powerful test is passed. You was amazing. I did this chapter on September 14th because it's also the day when the full moon is out. Nico-chan 11 gave me the ideas for this one. Thanks man. Let me know what you all think. See you all next time.